We cannot and will not tolerate violence or destruction of property.
Police, I've been to war zones, so I know what it's like to actually be in a situation that's a lot more dangerous than inside this building.
How many people are there? It is our job as members of Congress to have oversight.
It's a Sunday and we are somehow not having a chill Sunday. It's God's day, but here we are. And that is because recently, obviously with new administration that came through that's fulfilling promises, and I will say factually is acting in accordance with what they promised by the majority vote, there have been crackdowns on people that are illegal that are currently residing in the country, and this is through ICE raids and various other means. Now, in particular, this is becoming an issue due to the things, I can't say what they are, but we'll say peaceful, because you guys know what that means, is that they are happening over in Los Angeles. Now, because of those things, essentially, President Donald Trump is saying, we're going to ensure the safety. We're going to ensure that stuff is happening. And we're going to talk about how convoluted this is. But Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, did make this announcement. He says the violent mob assaults on ICE and federal law enforcement are designed to prevent the removal of criminal illegal aliens from our soil, a dangerous invasion facilitated by criminal cartels, also known as foreign terrorist organizations, and a huge national security risk. Under President Trump, violence and destruction against federal agents and federal facilities will not be tolerated. It is common sense. And it says the Department of Defense is mobilizing the National Guard immediately to support federal law enforcement in Los Angeles. And if violence continues, active duty Marines at Camp Pendleton will also be mobilized. They are on high alert. Now, the members that have officially arrived as of recording this video just recently, like 2 minutes ago, are from the 79th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, according to the U.S. Northern Command. And they've essentially been using deterrence and things like that, obviously, to try and get people away from this facility in order to do so. But the clash comes against now state government, as people like Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass have essentially said these are inflammatory and unnecessary. While on the other side of that, you have supporters that have gone against this, and they're saying this is actually to de-escalate what's going on. This includes Senator James Lankford from Oklahoma, which says that he thinks what President Trump is doing is pretty clear. He's trying to de-escalate all the tensions that are there. And then it says he referred to protests in the wake of George Floyd's murder, saying what President Trump is trying to do is say that this is not going to take weeks this time. And he then counteracts what Secretary of Defense says and says he noted that active duty Marines are not going to be put in local law enforcement, adding if Marines were mobilized, they would be in support roles. As the protests rise, we want to make sure those protests actually don't spiral out of control. I do want to add a little silver lining, so some people that maybe don't understand this, but National Guard, they're saying that they're going to be there for, I think it's up to 60 days at this point. When they are acting in the capacity of a federal order to go do something, they do have benefits that clock in, things like that. And some people actually want that because it can go towards time, towards GI Bill time, things like that, retirement, whatever else. So, and we ran into this with the Texas border situation previously, where National Guard was down there at Operation Lone Star, and they were only there by state request, which kind of differentiates how they're able to get benefits and things like that. So from that perspective, military, because that's what we cover on this channel, I wanted to add that in there. And it feels like everybody is all over the place on this, because obviously, there are a lot of military people that are in that essentially don't have the ability to have finances, things like that, and do come from illegal immigrants. And I've personally known some of them as well, but I want to share this video. Now it's from Non-Regs, and it says Latina reacts after serving a country only to see father deported. And then people below that, someone says illegals when they get consequences for breaking the law. And then someone says veteran or not, the father is illegal. She can sponsor him and can be here legally. And then someone says serves her country is wearing basic training patch. So a lot of people are not showing sympathy from this, but yes, if you're in the military, getting citizenship is a little bit easier to do so. On top of that, you can sponsor people as well. Just putting that out there, like there are options for this that are going on. And also there's this clip where a lot of veterans have responded to some of these issues as the videos are being released to the public and being posted across social media. This person, Ben Rayner, says R word over people here who are here illegally is insane. Someone says it's crazy. Deportations happen every day, but people only care when a Republican president and certain media outlets start pushing an agenda. I can tell you what we saw in Wisconsin, what we saw, all of these things that happened, I would say over the past 5, 6, 7-ish years, essentially, that has just blossomed into this chaos of people thinking protesting and all that is going to make things better. It unfortunately is not. I tell anybody, any change you want to make, you got to get lawyers, get involved. You have to have all this stuff happen. Like, if anything, by winning public opinion, you're only going against that in this situation. Like, you can destroy your city. Awesome. Now you're spending more tax dollars to do so. You're spending tax dollars in order to get those National Guard that are over there. You're getting tax dollars spent for all the overtime for the police there. You're getting tax dollars spent for people trying to now fund the police because they're worried about their businesses, their homes, their cars, their property, right? You know, I find it unfortunate because as I look at all the times that I've covered the National Guard being deployed anywhere, I'm not going against or for what the president is saying, you know, I'm just being neutral with this. It's really a lot of posturing. It's a lot of show of force to ensure safety, to ensure support, things like that. And that's in some ways critical of what the National Guard is supposed to do. And a lot of people get mad at this because they're like, is this martial law or is this something like that? I'm like, fear mongering goes on with that all the time from this. So just going to put that out there that I think this is going to be nothing burger. We're still going to see stuff go down. I think that you're only going to make more dollars spent for all these people that have to be here to deal with this, and essentially ensuring people are not going to want to insure these businesses or places because as time goes on, I'm sure insurance companies are writing off like we're not going to insure if riots or whatever happen because it's becoming more of a commonplace, especially in major cities like this. So I think a net benefit of here is negative for a lot of people. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of these people are taxpayers. A lot of these people want to be here. And I think things like this are only going to push more Californians outside of California because they're like, this state just keeps getting worse and worse if they're not getting any support. And obviously this conflict between federal and state government, you know, it's messy. It's very messy. But I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Again, my views are my views only. Don't represent anyone else's. Got to make sure you know that because God forbid somebody twist, contort, turn, twist, not whatever what I say as something else. But I love you guys. I'll see you next time.